The shuttle hissed as it settled onto the frozen ridge of Zephyr 7, metal legs trembling against ancient glacial stone. Lieutenant Aaron Valin stood at the hatch, staring into a world bathed in pale blue light. Towering ice cliffs shimmered like jagged temples. Wind whistled through the crevices, sharp and clean, untouched for centuries. He stepped into the cold, each crunch of his boots swallowed by the silence. His breath fogged inside the helmet. The mission brief looped in his mind: observe Zephyrian life patterns. Record fertility anomalies. Avoid contact. He hadn't come to follow rules. He'd come because he was tired of sterile labs, tired of dissecting beauty instead of understanding it. And she was there. KRL moved like she was part of the wind, tall, carved from some emerald stone, muscles flowing beneath iridescent skin. Her braid swung like a battle flag, long enough to touch her knees. She stood atop a cliff, scanning the horizon, unaware of him. A living paradox, sacred and dangerous. Aaron raised his scanner. It vibrated. Fertility signature detected, ZE prime class. His heart pounded. He wasn't supposed to get this close. Not to her. Not alone. Not unarmed. But logic had stopped guiding him weeks ago. She turned. Their eyes locked. She didn't reach for her weapon. She tilted her head slightly, curious. He stepped forward, hands raised, visor down. I'm not here to harm you. She didn't speak, only watched. Her eyes were large, dark, like bottomless oceans. No fear. No welcome either. Wind picked up. A crack echoed nearby. Aaron looked down. The ice shelf beneath her feet trembled. Move, he shouted. The ledge gave way. KRL fell. Without thinking, he sprinted, no calculations, no training, just instinct. He dove, grabbing her wrist midfall, slamming hard against the edge. Her weight nearly dragged him over. Her other hand grabbed his arm. Her grip was fierce, far stronger than his. But she didn't pull herself up immediately. You shouldn't be here, she growled, voice deep and melodic. Her face was inches from his, breath forming frost between them. I know, he gasped. But I couldn't stay away. She narrowed her eyes, confused, then shifted her body. In one fluid motion, she swung them both up. They landed hard, snow exploding around them. She rose to her feet. Aaron stayed kneeling, catching his breath. I warned the stars we were too different, she said, brushing snow from her thighs. You, humans, so small. So fragile. He stood. And you, so cold. So distant. Something flickered across her face. A shadow of something old, regret maybe. I felt your presence in the wind, she said softly. 4 days. That's impossible, he said. It's not, she replied. Not here. He took a cautious step forward. You're Zephyrian Prime. Is that why you came? She asked. To study me. Breed me. Break another law you don't understand. Her voice wasn't angry, just tired. Resigned. Aaron swallowed hard. No. I came because I saw something I wasn't supposed to see. You, standing alone on this ridge, untouched by everything that destroys the rest of us. I came because I couldn't stop dreaming about you. KRL froze. Her eyes searched his face like she was decoding something impossible. You speak of dreams. Do you know what my kind dreams of? She whispered. He shook his head. Warmth. And choices. Neither of which we've ever had. She turned her back to him, walking a few paces toward the ledge she had fallen from. I was born in the cradle of echoes, she said. Chosen at birth for my biology. Worshipped like a goddess, imprisoned like an animal. They say I carry life stronger than any in centuries. Yet I have never been allowed to feel what that life means. Her voice broke slightly. Just enough for him to hear the crack in her strength. I'm sorry, he said. No, you're not, she replied, still facing away. But you will be. She turned to him again. Her face had changed, still unreadable, but something was softer. She stepped close, slowly, until they were eye to eye. I warned you, human, she said. My body was not built for mating with yours. He didn't flinch. I know, he whispered. But I think my soul was built for you. Silence. Only the wind answered. Krl reached up, removed her glove. Her fingers, tipped with faintly glowing ridges, brushed his chest. She rested her palm over his heart. It pulses faster when I'm near, she said. You scare me, he admitted. And yet you came. Her hand stayed on him. He stayed still, hovering, trembling slightly. Then gently, he placed it over hers. They stood like that for a long moment, human and alien, soldier and goddess, two species defying the silence between stars. Then a shadow passed above them. A drone. Krl stepped back sharply, eyes blazing. They found us. Eron drew his sidearm and fired. The drone exploded in the sky. He turned to her, chest heaving. We need to move. She stared at him, surprised, wary, intrigued. You would defy your kind, she asked. I already have. Krl nodded once. Then without another word, she turned and ran into the snow. Eron followed, knowing there was no turning back. Behind them, the glacier echoed with the sound of distant alarms. Ahead, something deeper was awakening. Something older than war, and far more dangerous than love. Snow fell in slow spirals, painting the sky in silver. Eron followed Krl through a narrow chasm, lit only by bioluminescent moss clinging to the ice walls. The passage twisted like a frozen artery, pulsing faintly with color that seemed to respond to her presence. He'd never seen light behave that way. They didn't speak for miles. The cold numbed his fingers even through the gloves. His helmet flickered with error messages, oxygen low, core temperature dropping. Still, he kept pace. Eventually, Krl stopped. She turned and placed her hand on a smooth section of wall. The ice parted without a sound. Inside, a hollow cavern opened. It glowed faintly, soft blues and greens radiating from veins in the crystalline walls. Steam drifted from underground vents, warming the air just enough to make it breathable. Eron stepped inside. His breath slowed. This place is alive, he said quietly. Krl nodded. It remembers. It listens. This is where my kind come to become more. He removed his helmet. It's beautiful. She unlatched the heavy clasp at her shoulder, letting the outer armor fall away. Beneath it, her form was wrapped in a sleeveless weave of organic silk. Her skin shimmered in the ambient light, each movement revealing subtle, shifting patterns, markings he hadn't noticed before. You should rest, she said, settling onto a curved stone bench near a geothermal vent. I can't sleep, he admitted. Not while I'm still trying to understand everything. She looked at him, then gestured for him to sit beside her. Then ask. He lowered himself next to her. The warmth from her body was immediate, different from the artificial heat of his suit. Alive. Steady. Grounding. What did you mean, earlier, he asked, about not being allowed to feel what life means? She turned her head slowly. On Zephyra, fertility isn't freedom. It's ownership. We're bound by the cycle. Chosen to carry the bloodlines, not by love, but by order. So you've never chosen a mate? Krl shook her head. No. We bond once in a lifetime. And the bond, it's absolute. It isn't just physical. It reaches into thought, memory, instinct. There's no returning once it begins. He exhaled. Then why did you let me touch you? I didn't, she said softly. You touched me. And my body answered. The cave was still. A low hum echoed beneath their feet, as if the planet itself was listening. I don't want to hurt you, he said. But I can't pretend I don't feel something I've never felt before. Krl looked down at her hand. There's a reason humans and Zephyrians don't bond. Our biology is incompatible. Our DNA rejects fusion. But sometimes, anomalies occur. Eron's eyes narrowed. You think we're an anomaly? She didn't answer directly. When you touched me, my markings changed. That only happens during first contact with a mate. He swallowed hard. Krl leaned back, eyes closing. My body is preparing. Whether I want it to or not. Preparing for what? To complete the bond. Eron felt a knot tighten in his chest. What happens if you resist it? She opened her eyes. Pain. Madness. Eventually, collapse. My ancestors called it the breaking. He stood suddenly, pacing. We have to find a way to stop it. KRL gave a sad smile. It has already begun. He looked at her, really looked, noticed the trembling in her fingers, the pale glow rising beneath her skin. She was fighting herself. This isn't fair, he whispered. Fairness has never ruled the stars, she said. Only gravity. He sat beside her again. Then let's rewrite the pull. They sat in silence. Then slowly, she reached out and placed her hand on his chest, just as she had before. I feel your thoughts, she whispered. Even now. What do you hear? He asked. That you're afraid, she said. But also, that you're not leaving. I'm not, he said. Not unless you ask me to. KRL leaned closer, resting her forehead against his. Their breath mingled. Her voice was a whisper in the stillness. I've lived my whole life being told to wait for the right union, the perfect genetic fit. And now, a fragile human has me questioning the entire system. He smiled faintly. You're not so cold after all. And you, she said, her lips brushing the edge of his jaw, are not so breakable. Her fingers curled against his chest. His hand rose to meet hers. For a moment, they simply breathed together, matched, present. Then her eyes widened. She sat up straight. They're coming. He tensed. Who? She stood. Your people. A low hum echoed from outside the cavern. A probe. Aaron grabbed his helmet, slid it on, and scanned the signal. Commander Ray's sent a drone. It's mapping heat signatures. They'll find us, she said. Aaron looked at her. Then we run. No, she replied. They'll track us across the ridge. We must go deeper. There's a deeper level. She moved toward a wall and placed her hand flat against it. It rippled. This cave is ancient, she said. It remembers more than war and mating. It remembers sanctuary. A passage opened. He looked down the dark slope. What's down there? KRL didn't answer. Instead, she reached for his hand. Her grip was warm. Solid. Whatever it is, she said, we face it together now. They stepped into the darkness, the stone ceiling behind them. Above, the drone hovered, its scanners blind to what lay beneath. And in the shadows, the bond between them deepened, not just of bodies, but of will. Of sacrifice. Of something the galaxy had long forgotten. Choice. The descent was steep. The light from the upper chamber faded behind them, swallowed by a thick, living darkness. Only the faint shimmer of KRL's skin lit the narrow corridor. Aaron's gloved fingers brushed the ice walls, slick, warm in places, pulsing faintly like veins. The deeper they went, the more the air thickened with moisture and silence. What is this place? Aaron asked. KRL kept walking. It's older than language. My people call it the root. It's where the first bonds were formed. Where our kind learned to survive without war. His helmet flickered interference, not malfunction. Something was down here, distorting frequency and logic alike. When they reached the next chamber, the floor widened into a glowing basin of water. Steam rolled across its surface, rising in soft waves. Pillars of translucent stone spiraled toward the ceiling, humming faintly. KRL stopped at the edge. This is where it either ends, or begins. Aaron stepped beside her, heartbeat uneven. What do you mean? My body can't resist the bond anymore, she said. The closer we get, the faster it spreads. He turned to her. Then let it. Let me choose this. KRL shook her head. You don't understand. If we complete it, you change too. I don't care. You should. She stepped into the water. It barely rippled. Her skin glowed brighter beneath the surface. Come. Let your body decide, not your words. Aaron hesitated. Then he stripped away the upper half of his suit and entered. The heat hit first, intense, primal, almost too much. But her eyes anchored him. She reached out. When their hands met underwater, a tremor passed between them, sharp, electric. Images flashed in his mind. Her childhood. Her selection ceremony. Her first rebellion. Her loneliness. Then she gasped. The markings on her arms surged, trailing across her collarbones and down her chest, illuminating like fire veins. I feel you, she whispered. He stepped closer, water rising to their waists. Then take all of me. They kissed, cautiously at first. Not out of lust, but need. The pressure building inside both of them released in waves. Their breath synced, their thoughts twisted tighter, braided like the rivers running under the ice. KRL pulled him against her. Time warped. His sense of identity stretched, thinned, began to blend with hers. Her mind wasn't just near his, it was inside him. Then came the pain. Not physical, but deep like roots breaking rock. Every part of him resisted for a moment, bones rattling, vision dimming. His body wasn't built for this. She was too much. KRL grabbed the back of his neck and pressed her forehead to his. Let go, she breathed. Stop holding on to the shape of who you were. He did. The agony passed like a wave, crashing, then pulling back. And in its place, clarity. He saw her clearly now. Not just her thoughts, but her fear, her longing, her strength. She was massive, not in form, but in being. He felt small and humbled, yet utterly connected. The water calmed. Their bodies, still pressed together, radiated a joint glow. The chamber responded. The hum intensified. The stone pillars trembled. KRL opened her eyes. It is done. He was still breathing, still human, but something inside had shifted. He felt her heartbeat echoing beneath his own. I'm still here, he whispered. She nodded. Because you didn't resist. He reached up, touching the markings now etched faintly into his own chest. We're bound. We always were. We just didn't know it yet. Then an alarm echoed. Faint, distant, mechanical. Aaron's eyes widened. The drone sent coordinates. KRL climbed from the pool, pulling him with her. We don't have much time. They dressed quickly. Aaron's body ached differently now. It wasn't fatigue, it was adjustment. Every motion felt raw, but alive. The cavern entrance pulsed red. Someone's forcing access, Aaron said. KRL looked toward a secondary tunnel. There's another way out, but it's dangerous. It leads through the catacombs, no light, no sound. I'll follow, he said. Before they could move, the ceiling cracked. A metal pod dropped into the chamber. Commander Reyes stepped out, rifle raised. You bonded, he spat. Unbelievable. KRL stepped between them. Leave. Reyes smirked. You think I came here to negotiate? Behind him, soldiers poured in. Their weapons hummed with charged rounds. Aaron held up his hands. She's not a threat. No, Reyes said coldly. She's an opportunity. KRL's fists clenched. You don't know what you're doing. I know enough, Reyes snapped. That creature's womb carries genetic anomalies we can use. Hybrid resilience, planetary tolerance. We weaponize that, build a generation immune to cosmic radiation. You gave me what I wanted, Valin. You just didn't realize it. Aaron stepped forward. You'll have to kill me to take her. Reyes laughed. That can be arranged. Suddenly, the cavern pulsed. The root responded not with light, but sound. A low, growing hum filled the air. KRL's markings flared again. She's bonded, Aaron said. You try to separate us now, and the root reacts. Empty threats, Reyes muttered, gesturing for his soldiers. But then the walls cracked. A beam of bioluminescent energy shot down from the ceiling, blocking the soldiers' path. KRL closed her eyes. It's protecting us. Reyes fired. The shot struck the energy wall and reflected, hitting one of his own men. Aaron grabbed KRL's hand. Now. They ran into the catacombs as the walls collapsed behind them. The darkness swallowed everything, but KRL led the way, moving through memory, not sight. Behind them, Rey's voice echoed once more, angry, desperate. You won't escape. You can't hide from the science that built you. But they didn't stop. Because they weren't hiding. They were evolving. Together. The catacombs were silence incarnate. Eran could hear nothing but the rhythm of his pulse and the distant echo of Kaerel's breath. The walls pressed close, obsidian black, alive with faint, pulsing strands that lit just enough for them to move forward. Time lost meaning in that void. Steps became thoughts, thoughts became heartbeats. Kaerel led, silent but sure. Her hand never left his. Every now and then, she'd pause, eyes closed, feeling the path instead of seeing it. "How do you know where we're going?" he finally whispered. "I don't," she said. "But the bond does. I'm not thinking, I'm remembering. Even though I've never been here before." Eran understood. Since the route, he too felt pulled by something older than logic. His body no longer resisted this place, it merged with it. After hours, they reached an opening. A narrow rift led upward. Faint light bled through from above. They climbed, hand over hand, until they emerged onto a snowy ridge beneath a pale green sky. It was dawn. Kaerel collapsed to her knees, breathing hard. Eran knelt beside her, brushing the snow from her shoulders. She was trembling, not from cold, but from strain. The bond had taxed her more than she admitted. "We need shelter," he said. "Somewhere safe. Somewhere warm." She shook her head. "No more running." Eran frowned. "You want to wait for them to find us? They already have." He turned. A sleek black shuttle hovered just beyond the ridge, its lights off, engines quiet. Kaerel rose slowly. "It's not Ray's." The hatch opened. From inside, a figure stepped out, tall, female, clad in deep violet armor with markings that shimmered faintly like Kaerel's. The woman removed her helmet. Her hair was silver. Her eyes familiar. "Mother," Kaerel said. Eran froze. The woman walked forward with grace. "You bonded," she said without judgment. Kaerel nodded. "Yes." The older woman's eyes scanned Eran. "You were not chosen." "And yet, the bond held." "It did," Kaerel said. "And it changed us both." The woman paused. "Then your path is no longer ours." Kaerel stepped forward. "I never wanted to be a vessel. I wanted to feel. To choose. This," she reached for Eran's hand, "is mine." There was a long silence. The older Zephyrian finally nodded. "Then go. Take the exile moon. It's uninhabited. The humans won't track you there. And we will not speak of this union again." Kaerel didn't flinch. "That's enough." Eran followed her aboard the shuttle. No guards. No farewells. Within minutes, they were in the stars, silent, suspended between two worlds neither of them belonged to anymore. The exile moon was a sphere of deep forest and still lakes. No cities. No war. Just breath and wind. They made a home in the cliffs above the southern sea, where the sky burned violet at dusk. Eran repaired old solar units from the wreckage of past outposts. Kaerel crafted tools from native stone and vine. Day by day, they learned a new rhythm. Not as soldier and goddess, but as mates. One evening, Kaerel sat quietly near the water, staring at the reflection of her changing body. "I can feel it," she whispered as Eran approached. "Something growing." He placed his hands gently on her stomach. It was subtle, a curve, a warmth, but undeniable. "A child?" he asked softly. She nodded. "Ours." He knelt beside her, emotion tightening his throat. "Will they survive?" "A hybrid." "We're not a mutation, Eran. We're evolution." He kissed her shoulder. "They'll be stronger than either of us." "They already are," she said. "They exist without permission. That's the rarest kind of life." Months passed. Kaerel's body swelled with life. Her strength remained, but her steps slowed. Eran stayed close, learning every shift, every sound her body made. The bond had deepened into something quieter, less fire, more earth. Then, one morning, the sky darkened. A black cruiser passed overhead. Human. Military. Old model. Kaerel clutched Eran's arm. "Raise." Eran's eyes narrowed. "I thought he was discharged." "He doesn't follow orders anymore." They ran to the cave beneath the cliffs, the emergency shelter Eran had carved weeks ago. The cruiser didn't land. It hovered. Scanned. Then moved on. But Aaron knew this wasn't over. That night, KRL went into labor. It wasn't violent. It was still. Her body glowed brighter than he'd ever seen. The markings on her skin pulsed like starlight. She didn't scream. She focused. Hours later, in the warmth of their sanctuary, she cradled a child wrapped in woven moss. The baby was silent, alert, eyes wide and glowing with a soft turquoise light. Not Zephyrian. Not human. Something between. Is it healthy? Aaron asked. KRL smiled. Perfect. The child stared up at him, unblinking. Then, against every known genetic law, reached up and grabbed his finger. Tight. Strong. Alive. 2 days later, the cruiser returned. Aaron stood at the edge of the cliff, rifle in hand. He wasn't a soldier anymore, but he would protect them. KRL stood beside him, child in sling across her chest. But the cruiser didn't land. A single message echoed from the ship. We saw what you made. And we're not ready for it. But one day, we might be. Then it turned and disappeared into the clouds. Aaron let out a breath. KRL looked down at their child. No war, she whispered. Not for this one. He kissed her forehead. No war. Just love. The child cooed softly. And beneath the twin moons of a forgotten world, something impossible had taken root. Not a weapon. Not a miracle. Just a family.